Today we are exploring Newcastle, Delaware. This is a very historic town, and it is the location of the first state ratification in the United States. Hey everyone, so where we are today is Newcastle, Delaware. We're going to go on a tour. I'm going to show you all of the historic sites. So it kind of has a very colonial feel, and this is actually the site of the ratification of the first state in the United States, Delaware. So where you want to start when you first get here is the visitor center, and that's right behind me. So take a look at it here. So at the visitor center, they give you a lot of information. There's a lot of pamphlets. There's you can sign up for tours. There's ghost tours, which is pretty cool. I'm here in October, so probably going to do that later. There's ghost tours, and there's history tours, and you know, they have pamphlets if you want to do a self-guided thing, or if you want a formal tour. But I'm going to give you a formal tour here. We're going to go past all the sites and learn a little bit about this historic district in Newcastle, Delaware. Okay. Okay, so where we are now, we are in front of a Newcastle Common, and what this is basically is it was a grant of land that was given by William Penn in nearby Pennsylvania to the town as a common for people in the early to mid 1700s to kind of have a first public space in the area, right? So take a look here. Called the Sheriff's House. This was built in 1827, and basically it's a Victorian mansion, and it kind of shows Newcastle's prominence as the county seat of Delaware. What's interesting about it is they say that it is haunted. So currently the site is under renovation, but once it's open, they expect it to be finished in the next year or two. Once it's open, it's going to be the center, the visitor center, right? So instead of this visitor center was down there, they're going to switch it to this location. So it's pretty cool. It's closed now, like I said, but it's pretty interesting. So this is where the sheriff lived in the town. Okay guys, so behind me is the Newcastle courthouse. So what is important about this courthouse is the fact that it was built in 1732, and it served as a governmental kind of center for the people of Newcastle at the time. So as the town grew its colonial influence, this was really the center of where the town had their government, right? And what's interesting about it, this is the biggest site in Newcastle. This is the place where the ratification of the first United States state, Delaware, happened. So in 1776, all the people in the area, all the politicians came together, right? And they declared independence from both Pennsylvania and Great Britain, right? So at the time, Delaware was part of Pennsylvania, right? So this is the place where in 1776 where Delaware seceded from Pennsylvania and Great Britain, right, and formed the first state of the United States, Delaware. So take a look. It's a pretty interesting feat of architecture. I mean, it does have that real colonial style, right? So there are guided tours and just walk-in tours. It's free admission. It's closed on Sundays, and it's closed on state and federal holidays. So make sure if you want to go inside the courthouse, make sure you don't come on a Sunday or those days. And it's free admission. I recommend you eat when you're here in Newcastle is Jesop's Tavern. So this tavern is actually built in the 1630s, and when you're in it, you kind of feel like you're in that time, right? So it has the low ceilings, the dark wood, and they really keep it to the theme, right? So take a look. Now, when I was here, I had the shepherd's pie and the meatloaf. So the food is kind of like the colonial, kind of like really good, hearty food, right? So make sure you have that while you're here. Now is the landing place of William Penn. So if you don't know a lot about William Penn, he is kind of a founding father of the Pennsylvania, Delaware area, right? So he was very big with developing Philadelphia and a lot of towns in Pennsylvania and Delaware. And he was like a very early colonist, and this is where he first landed on American soil. So take a look here. And then take a look at some of these blocks down here. I mean, it really has that real old world colonial feel. So take a look here. And as you can see, you have you have regular concrete, but underneath you can see the old cobblestone street. So it's really pretty neat here. Easternmost end of historic Newcastle, you have an amazing park, right? So the park opens up to the mouth of the Delaware River. So this is actually the beginning of the Delaware River, that flows up towards Philadelphia, and it goes all the way up bordering Pennsylvania and New Jersey, right? So this is the park here. You can see over here you have the old colonial architecture. And then here it is. This is the mouth of the Delaware River. You go a little further south and you're in the Atlantic Ocean. Really is a beautiful park. Just take a stroll on it. And what's so cool is you're in the historic kind of colonial village over here, right, of Newcastle. And then you have this beautiful park, and it just opens to this vista of the Delaware River. And a lot of people underestimate how big the Delaware River is. It gets smaller as you go more north, but here at the mouth it's very big. Take a look here. Now I highly suggest when you come to visit Newcastle to take a stroll along the park. It really is something really interesting to see. So one thing that you'll notice when you're walking around Newcastle, since it's such a historic village, I mean, you have these really cool old houses, right? And they're still, you know, these aren't even museums. These are occupied by people. And you can see here, they're located very close to the street, and the streets are small, almost alley-like, and that's because this area was not built when cars were around, right? So it's really built for pedestrians and for horse-drawn carriages, or horses in general. So you're gonna see in these more historic East Coast villages, you're gonna see small frontages in the front because people were located closer to the street, and there weren't driveways and things, right? And you're also going to see more denser development because people needed to be close to the services that they needed, right? So you're not going to see kind of sprawling suburban development that we're so used to in modern day America. I mean, take a look. This is another street. So it's cool to see how development changed over time, and you could really see that in Newcastle. More than just the historic site, so it's an active functioning town too. So you have a lot of really kind of quaint, unique, independent stores. So take a look. This is just some of them. You have a jeweler, dog store, bookshop, so what's cool is you're not going to see, you know, real commercialized kind of mall places. You're going to see, you know, more unique and independent stores, and they really take pride and ownership in that. And you have, you know, those little mom and pop stores, so it's pretty cool. Where we are in front of now is the George Reed house. So he was a wealthy Delaware resident, and he built a 22,000 square foot, 14 room home here, and it was the largest home in Delaware for very many decades, and it's located right here, and it looks out right into the Delaware River. Beautiful views right on the historic street here. So this is it here. And this is the street, and then it looks out right into the river here. Now what's cool about this is, like we saw before, if you look at the streets here, you have the old original cobblestone, and then it's been covered by the modern concrete. So take a look here. Now, the home has tours every hour on the hour, but the last one is at 3 p.m. We're not gonna do the tour. That would take too much of the video length. But I encourage you to go and take a look. There's huge rooms. It's very opulent, a very like early 19th century architecture. So it's pretty cool if you like that stuff. And they also have a gardens section here that is open to the public. So take a look here. This is where you start the tour. And then you can go through these gardens, and there's kind of like these meandering paths, and people actually get married here. It's a pretty cool sight to see here. And And then as you go to the rear of the property, you're right by the second street where all the other colonial homes are and the visitor center. So what's great about Newcastle is it's not kind of a site where it's so busy and so crazy, but you have so much. It's like a lesser known historical town. I really recommend coming here because you don't have that big crowd feel, right? It has that, and everything's open. Like these gardens are open. It's a very kind of laid back vibe. There's not like lines or airport security or anything crazy like that. It's like a true low-key, very lived in revolutionary colonial town. And I highly recommend visiting the Reed House while you're here, guys.